ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनिरते सुधर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्य उपव्याख्यानम्। Page 277. यथा सौम्य पुरुषं गन्धारेभ्यः अभिनद्धाक्षम् आनीय तं ततोद्जने विसृजेत् स यथा तत्र प्राङ्वा उदङ्वा अधराङ्वा प्रत्यङ्वा प्रद्मायीत अभिनद्धाक्ष आनीतः अभिनद्धाक्ष विसृष्टः तस्य यथा विनहनं प्रमुच्य प्रब्रूयात् एतां दिशं गन्धाराः एतां दिशं व्रजेति स ग्रामात् ग्रामं पृच्छन् पंडितो मेधावी गन्धारानेव उपसम्पद्येत एवमेव इह आचार्यवान् पुरुषो वेद तस्य तावदेव चिरं यावन्न विमोक्ष्ये अथ संपत्स्ये इति। यथा एवं दृष्टांतो वर्णितः. The Bhashyakara sopaskaram anuvadati, rewrites the same example, filling in whatever information is required to make that example complete. Yatha ayam drishtanto varnitaha, just as this illustration has been described, svavishebhya gandharebhya purusha taskarehi abhinadakshaha. From his own country, which is Gandhara, this person, in Praveshita, Aranyam Praveshita, has been made to enter a forest. Taskarehi, by thieves, Abhinadakshaha, with blindfolded, Avivekaha, with no sense, totally non-discriminate, Dingmudaha, with no sense of direction. Ashanaya Pipasadiman. Poor man is hungry and thirsty. Vyagra Taskaradi Anekabhaya Anathabhratayutam Aranyam Praveshitaha. So he is made to enter this forest or left in a forest, infested by Vyagra, by all these animals such as, tiger, etc., Taskaradi, and thieves and robbers. Anekabhaya Anathabhratayutam. That forest made of anartha, many anarthas, so many calamities, or many kinds of sufferings involved there. It's a source of fear and source of suffering. Dukkhartaha, therefore he is suffering from pain or sorrow. Vikroshan, cannot tolerate his suffering, therefore he is shouting. Bandhanebhya mumukshuhu, he is desirous of completely become free from the bandhanam or the bondage. Tishtati, he is there, he is in that forest shouting like this. That's where he is. Kathanchideva karunikena kenachit mokshitaha. Kathanchit, by his great fortune, kenachit karunikena, some compassionate person happens to come along. Mokshitaha, he is released from his bondage as well as his blindfold is removed. Swadeshan Gandharaneva Apannaha. With the instruction from that kind person, he is able to get back to his own country, which is Gandhara. Nirvrataha Sukhiya Bhut, free from all suffering, and became extremely happy. Yathayam Drishtanta, this is the Drishtanta illustration. Evameva, in a manner similar to that. Satah Jagadatmana Swarupat Avakrushedi Shesha. So this person is snatched away from his own Swarupa, own nature, which is also Jagadatmana, which is also the Atma, the self of the whole universe, Brahman, which is his own nature, and so he is snatched away from there. So he is brought, he is made to enter this forest of the nature of this body. Tejo Bannadamayam Deharanyam Praveshitaha. Made to enter this forest from the body, made of the three elements, the fire, water, and earth. Vata Kapha Rudira Medu Mamsa Asthimajja Shukra. Consisting of these filthy things. So, first of all, which is consisting of these three doshas, kapha, vata, pitta, and consisting again of these seven dhatus, sattva, rudira, mam, sasthi, mejo, madna, majja, etc. And krumi, mutra, puri, also all kinds of insects are there, worms are there, and then mutra, purisha, and so the urine and fecus. Shitoshnadi aneka dvandva sukha dukkha vaccha. The forest of the body also is not only consists of this filthy matter, but sukha dukkha vaccha, also possessed of all pleasure and pain, and all the pairs of opposites such as Shita, Ushna, Sukha Dukkha, constantly confronted with these pairs of opposites. Idam mohapata vinadakshaha. This jiva also is blindfolded by the folds of the ignorance. Bhaya, putra, mitra, asubandhvadi, dushta, dushta, aneka vishaya tushna pasitaha. Like the man in the example has been on his eyes and a lot of tried. Similarly, this fellow is tied up with the snares or the ropes of Trishna. So, aneka vishaya tushna pasitaha. Having cravings for variety of things, such as bharya, putra, mitra, pasu, bandhu, etc. Who has brought him to this forest of the body? Punya, punyadi, taskaraihi praveshitaha. The Jivatma is made to enter the forest of this body by the taskara, by the thieves of punya, apunya, the virtue and vice. So Tishtati, this is how he is in the forest. Now Akroshan, so Aham Amusya Putraha Mama Ete Bandhavaha. He is constantly shouting, seeking help. Aham Amusya Putraha, I am the son of so and so. Mama Ete Bandhavaha, so these are my relatives. Sukhi Aham, Dukhi, happy, unhappy, moodah, deluded, panditaha, learned, dharmikaha, religious, bandhuman, possessed of the friends and relatives, jataha, mrutaha, born, dying, jirna, old, papi, sinner, putro me mrutaha, my son is dead, dhanam me nashtam, my wealth is all gone. Ha hatosmi, I am gone completely. Katham jivishyami, how am I going to survive now? Kame gati, what will happen to me? Kim me tranam, who will protect me? Itivam aneka shata sahasra anartha jalavan vikroshan. Thus trapped in a snare of hundreds of thousands of this kind of sufferings. Kroshan, and they were shouting. We are on the page 79, continuing. In the 7th line, Tasya sada dukkhitva shankam varayati. Is going to be miserable forever? Or is there a release from that? So that shankam varat is no, he will not be miserable forever. So says Bhashyakara, Kathanchideva Punyatishayat Paramakarunikam Kanchite Sadbrahmatmavidam Vimuktabandhanam Brahmishtham Yada asadayati tena cha brahmavida karunyat darshita samsara vishaya dosha darshana margaha viraktaha samsara vishayabhyaha. So Kroshan, Vikroshan, thus when he is shouting and expressing his pain and a keen desire to be liberated from that pain, so this is a situation of this Jivatma who is thrown into the forest, his body and everything related, connected with the body. In this life, Kathanchideva means Punyatishaya. because of the fructification of the punya or the virtues of many past lives. Katanjit, somehow. So this phenomenon cannot always be explained. As to how I come across the guru or my teacher is very difficult to explain. Always some reason, somebody brought me here, somebody suggested, somebody pointed out. Some kind of a chance happens because of which I just came in contact with this teacher. Kathanchit. But the main reason is punyatishayat. Because of the fructification of the punya, the virtuous actions of the past. That's what must have happened. Paramakarunikam kanchit, some paramakarunikam. So one thing is sure about this guru, the teacher, is paramakarunikam. Karunikam, compassionate. Paramakarunikam, extremely compassionate. Sad Brahmatmavidam, also the knower of Brahman. Sad Brahmatma, Sat, that is Brahman, Atmavidam, who knows Sat, existence, which is Brahman as his own self. And therefore, Vimukta Bandhanam, one who is himself free from bondage. That's important. Even in that forest, an example, who can release this person from his bonds? The one who is free. Some other fellow is tied up there or suppose comes along, he is not able to help him. Only one who is free can untie his bonds. So the Tika says in line 27, Brahmavitvam matrena na asayana vivritti vishinasti vimukta bandhanam. Not only is he knower of Brahma, but himself also vimukta bandhana, one who is free from the bondage. Says Anandagiri, apatataha brahmavittvamatrena mukta bandhanatva asiddhe vishinasti. So what's the reason why he is free from bondage? Apatata brahmavittvamatrena. If it is only paroksha jnanam, the indirect knowledge, then he cannot be mukta bandhana. He cannot be free from the bondage if he just had a paroksha jnana of Brahman, or just a first-hand knowledge of Brahman, just the incidental knowledge of Brahman. Therefore, brahmishtam. Brahmishtam means what? One is the most exalted among the knowers of Brahman. Brahmishta. In the court of King Janaka was looking for Brahmishta, the one who is the most abiding in Brahman, most learned knowledge about Brahman. Yada asadayati tada swakishadi uttaratra sambandha. Yada asadayati, when he comes along, a teacher of this nature, then what happens? So Paramakaranikaha, this most compassionate person, what does it do to him? Tenacha Brahmavida, by the teacher who is the knower of Brahman. Karunyad darshida samsara vishaya dosha darshana margaha virakta samsara vishayabhyaha. The first thing the teacher does is to make him aware of the fundamental problem of life. What is the fundamental problem of human being? The problem of sadness which arises from ignorance. And ignorance creates aviveka, creates the non-discrimination or false notions. The ignorance creates adhyasa, a superimposition, and creates this false notion about oneself as well as about the objects of the world. The self that is the nature of Ananda, is taken to be Dukkhi. Purna is taken to be Apurna. And the objects and achievements of the world which are mithya, which are unreal, which will create an appearance of happiness, that appearance is taken to be real. So that is why naturally the person has a fascination for the objects of the world. And therefore the mind is going to run towards those objects. So first thing that is to be done is to release this mind from the hold of these objects and to put it on the right path. So samsara vishebhya viraktaha. This person becomes viraktaha, becomes dispassionate, samsara vishebhya, from the objects or pleasures of the world. Because of what? Because of which? Darshita samsara vishaya dosha darshana margaha. Says the Tika here, Ananya prokte gatiratranasti shrutyantarat. Earlier, says Kathopanishad, Ananya prokte gatiratranasti agatiratranasti. When Brahman is communicated by the one who is identical with Brahman, who abides in Brahman, Ananya prokte. Ananya means when the teacher is Ananya, teacher is non-separate from Brahman, teacher abides in Brahman as the very self. Prokte, when he communicates, so when he gives the upadesha or teaching, gatiratra nasti or agati nasti. Agati means ignorance cannot remain. Gatiratra nasti, there cannot be gati other than moksha when the teaching is done by a person or Brahma's teacher who himself abides in Brahman. Then explaining Darshita samsara vishaya dosha darshana margaha. Darshitaha samsara ye vishayaha. Teshu dosha darshanam eva svatma prapto margaha yasya. So this is the adjective of this person. Now the student. Darshita samsara vishaya dosha darshana margaha. Dosha darshana margaha. Dosha darshanameva margaha. Dosha darshanameva svatma prapto margaha. Dosha darshana, seeing the defect in the pleasures of the world. That is dosha darshanam. Showing what dosha is involved. And so, kshaishnutvam, number one, all the objects are perishable. At the same time, there is satishatva, meaning that of course the joy that you get is you're never satisfied with the pleasure that you get out of them. He samsparshaya lukkhayo adyantavantah. Also again, adyantavantah. All the pleasure, adi and therefore in between also they are not there. The pleasure was not there before, the pleasure is not there later, therefore the pleasure is not there in between also. There are so many doshas. Basically what it means is that one has to pay a heavy price for any kind of pleasure that one gets from the sense pleasures. It doesn't come free. Sarva indriyanam jarayanti tejaha, as Nishiketa says that sarva indriyanam jarayanti tejaha, that vitality of all sense organs also is completely drained away, exhausted. And so, if one is made to see this, until then, since there is nothing else, no other way in life, therefore one is seeking pleasure anyway. But when one is shown, there is another way. And this is not the way also. So, darshitaha samsara ye vishayaha, all those vishayas, the pleasures or objects which are there in samsara, Teshu dosha darshanameva svatma praptu margaha. To be able to bring back the mind from the preoccupation with the sense objects. Yato yato nischari manaschanchala cha tadastato niyamyetata manaschanchala mastiram. The restless and unsteady mind, for whatever reason, it runs away into the objects of the world. Tatastato niyamyetata. One must again bring it back to the self. So that dosha darshanam has to be done. Svatma prapto margaha. Meaning that releasing the mind from the fascination of the sense pleasures, such that that's called vairagya, making the mind free from raga and dvesha. Because raga dveshas are the enemies or the thieves or the robbers that in fact draw away the mind from its object of meditation. Dhyayato vishyan pumsaha. Or that, so that's how the mind is going to come into the sway of these things. Ateva samsara vishebhya virakta ityartha. So first of all, the teacher creates in the student the vairagya by making him aware of what the real situation in life is, that it is praptasya prapti. So what you are seeking in life is already there. It is your own self. Atmanastu kamaya so sarvam priyam bhavati. Whatever is dear to you is dear for your own sake. They are not capable of giving you any pleasure or any satisfaction. It always comes from the self. So in one way or the other, the teacher creates vairagya in the student so that the mind becomes free from the hold of raga and dvesha. If the person is ready, then dosha darshanam will be enough to make the mind free. But if he is not ready, meaning raga dvesha are very strong, then of course karma yoga or worship is required. If raga dvesha are not very strong, then by analysis it will be possible to release the mind from their hold. But if raga dvesha are very strong, in spite of analysis also, in spite of making the mind see, it cannot become free. Then karma yoga, bhakti yoga is required. Same thing Anandagiri says, samsara vishayam dosha darshanam. Seeing the defect in the objects of the samsara, tasya kshaishnattvadi jnanam. That these objects and the pleasures coming from there are ephemeral. They are perishable and never adequate to give you satisfaction. Tasya marga viveka, this is called viveka. To be able to discriminate. So Shreya and Preya both are there, and one has to constantly choose the Shreyas and give up the Preyas. So yasya acharyana darshitaha vidyataha sa darshita samsara vishaya dosha darshana margaha. The person whom the Acharya has shown with the help of analysis, so he is that person. Here of course the Tikakara says, Yadyapi Brahmavid upasampatte prapurama vairagyam apekshitam. He says that who will go to the teacher? The person who has come to the teacher must possess vairagya already, otherwise he would not go to the teacher. Brahmano nirvedamayat nasti akrutah krutena. So by this analysis that akrutah krutena karmana nasti, akrutah nitya or eternal cannot be attained by any karma. nirvedamayat. So, whatever is there in the universe is all created, and that is all perishable, and it cannot give nitya vastu, what is uncreated, and therefore nirvedamayat. One becomes disenchanted with all objects and achievements of the world. Not only that, there arises a desire for knowledge. Tad vijnanartham sa gurumeva vigacche. And then, for gaining that knowledge, one should go to the teacher. So when one goes to a teacher already, this vairagya has taken place. The desire for knowledge has arisen. But Bhashyakara says that after coming in contact with the teacher, that he creates viveka in him and vairagya in him. Tikakara says that viveka vairagya should already have been there even before he goes to a teacher, because otherwise he would not approach the teacher. So he tries to give an explanation. Tathapi purvotpannameva vairagyam acharyapi acharya dhrudhikriyate tha uktam. Or you have to see that, understand that this person already had vairagya before he approached the teacher. What does the teacher do? He makes that vairagya firm. Again, that's all. So that is what is meant here by Bhashyakara. Or yadva kathanchit punyatishavasat darshita samsara vishaya dosh darshana marga vishayabhya virakta sat brahmavit asadayati. You have to change the order. Yadva, so Bhashya says, so kathanchideva punyatisayat. By the fructification of the punya, the virtue of the past, darshita samsara vishaya dosha darshana marga hai. So it connects the punyatisayatvam with the vairagya. So vairagya also can arise only because of the fructification of the past punya. So either we interpret this by saying that because of the past punya he came across a teacher, or you can say that because of the past punya he developed vairagya. He could say, Darshita samsara vishaya dosha darshana marga vishayabhya virakta. That because of that fructification of punya, he had that insight, and therefore he himself could develop the vairagya. Nahi prapashyami mamapanadhyat yachokam utshoshanam indriyanam. Arjuna himself said that I do not see how the unrivaled kingdom of the universe world, or even the adhipatyam, the kingdom of the heaven also can release me from this. I don't see. So Arjuna shows vairagya. And that vairagya is not usual, it's an unusual thing. Therefore, to find somebody who possesses that vairagya or dispassion, you have to conclude that it must be due to the past punya karma. So virakta sat brahmavit asadayati. Being virakta, then he approaches or comes across the knower of Brahman. Tenacha brahmavida karunyat. So thus you have to then rearrange the bhashya to satisfy the criterion that one should have vairagya before one approaches teacher. Coming back to Anandagiri says, Acharya sadhana chatushtaya sampannasya adhikarana samsarat mokshitattva prakaram darshayate. So virakta hai, Bhashyakara said, which is interpreted as sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. Vairagya is there and mumukshutva also is there. Therefore, the samadhi shatka sampatti also must be there. Vairagyam cha mumukshutvam tivram yastutu vidyate. Viveka Chudamani says that one who is tivra vairagya and tivra mokshutva. That is why you understand that the Samadhi Shatika Sampatti has really become mature or fructified. So Acharyana sadhana chatur sampannasya adhikarinaha. How Acharya samsarat mokshitatva prakaram. How the Acharya releases this one from samsara. Which one? One who is possessed of the fourfold qualification. How he is released from samsara by the teacher. That prakaram dashayati. In what way does the teacher communicate with the student? So say it. Let us read that. Nasitvam samsare amushya putratvadi dharmavan kintarhi sata yata tattvamasi iti avidyamoha patana vinhanat mokshitaha gandhara purushavaccha swam sadatmanam upasampadya sukhi nivritasya ityetamarthamaha Acharyavan Purusho Veda iti. So from this simple statement, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, the Purusha, the seeker, who is Acharya, who is the teacher, acquires knowledge. From that Bhashyakara, in fact, derived all of this. Bhashyakara derived the whole process. Acharyavan Purusho Veda, the one, the Acharya, acquires knowledge. So how does he acquire knowledge? First of all, in him must have created the value for knowledge. For that, he must have keenly recognized the suffering of samsara. How his life is full of pain and suffering. And how there is no way out of that suffering. He doesn't know how to become free from that grief. Shishyastem sadhiman tvam prapannam. I do not know how to become free from this grief, therefore surrender to you. So all of these must have taken place in the student. When the student must have recognized that there is no way that I know of becoming free from grief, therefore he surrenders to somebody who appears to be one who is free from grief himself. So teacher very clearly appears free from shoka or grief. And that's the reason why this student surrenders to him, to somebody who is free from grief, and he wants to become like that. So how mumukshutvam is there, how vairagya is there, all of this must be there before one approaches the teacher, and then only when these qualifications are there, that the teaching also becomes effective, not otherwise. So nasitvam samsari, how does release him? Samsarat mokshitatva prakaram darshayati. How does the Acharya or the teacher release him from samsara? Nasitvam samsari. O my disciple, tvam samsari nasi. You are not samsari. Meaning you are not what you take yourself to be. You are not incomplete. You are not inadequate. You are not helpless. You are not subject to pleasure and pain. You are not subject to grief and delusion. You are not. You are not what you take yourself to be. Amushya putratvad dharmavan. Who is a samsari? Who thinks that I am born, I am son of so and so, I have these brothers, and that's how one take oneself to be possessed of these attributes. That is all attributes of samsara. Hungry I am, thirsty I am. Ashanaya pipase shokam moham jara mrityum. So one who takes oneself to be hungry and thirsty, grieving and deluded, and thinks also of old age and death. The one who considers himself as subject to this, that's a samsari. Amusya putratvad dharmavan, therefore I am the son of so and so and the father of this and this, etc. You are not. This body, you are not. Putra, etc. These relationships are at the level of body. So if the body you are not, then putra, who is connected to the body also, related to the body also, you are not. So nasitvam putratvad dharmavan. You are not what you take yourself to be. Manah, buddhi, ahankara, chittani, you are not. Nacha shrotra netre, kshaja shrotra, jihve, nacha ghrana netre, you are not. Then who are you? Kim tarhi? If I am not a father, if I am not the son, I am not all of this, then who am I? Sadyat tattvamasi, that Sat, which is Jagat Karanam, the cause of creation, one without a second, one without a second, tattvamasi, that's what who you are. He is made to see this fact. He is made to see this fact that I am Sat, I am existence, Jagat Adhishthanam, one without a second, limitless I am. Iti avidya moha pata abhinahanat mokshitah. That's how is avidya moha. The ignorance and the moha, the delusion born of that is the blindfold. From that he is released. So when that Gandhara Purusha was released from the blindfold and from his bondage, how he was able to gramat gramam prachanna pandito medhavi Gandharaneva upasampadhyeta. So asking from village to village, he verified what his path was. Because Pandita, he knew what the path was. Medhavi, he also was capable of recognizing the right path. When he is traveling, he could recognize that this is the path. Because these milestones are there, signposts are there. Swamiji, how do I know that my antahkarana is becoming purified? When you discover the inner satisfaction, inner comfort, as you discover comfort with your own self. And discovering total comfort is moksha. Atmaneva atmana tushta. One is totally comfortable with oneself. And therefore, comfortable with everything else. So Gandhara Purushavacha Swam Sadatmanam Upasampadya Sukhi Nivruta Syat. Upasampadya, attaining, knowing Swam Sadatmanam, knowing oneself as Sadatmanam, as Sat Atma, as existence. That's my nature, that's myself. Sukhi nivruta syat. How he becomes sukhi, free from all pain. Hiranyagri says, Yadyapi Vakyartha Jnane Vakyama Upaya hai Tathapi Acharya Upadeshanita Atisha Darshanat Tad Upadesha Avagatyanta Vakyartha Jnane Prathamo Hetu. The question is, why do you require a teacher? You could, study the Upanishad by yourself. after all, says yadyapi vakyartha jnane vakyameva upaya. To know the meaning of a statement, you should know the statement, vakya. So tattvamasi, when you know, then you deliberate upon that and the knowledge of that sentence takes place. So theoretically you may not require a teacher. Tathapi Acharya upadesha janita atishaya darshana. When this sentence comes from a teacher, Acharya, Upadesha janita atishaya darshanat, when a competent teacher communicates this to you, then that statement carries with it also the kripa, anugraha of the teacher. So teacher's own anugraha, his own insight, his own wisdom also is communicated through that sentence. Therefore, a mere statement that you have from the books, or even from the text, is different from that very same statement coming from a competent teacher. Because the statement brings with it the conviction the teacher himself has. And also, student is the beneficiary of the blessing of the teacher. Also, teaching of the teacher. So, these aspects you cannot get if you study by yourself. So, atishaya darshanat, acharya upadesha janita, atishaya darshanat. Atishaya means some extra factor is created. So they say mantra also you should receive from your teacher because it comes with the grace of the teacher. As the teacher imparts certain power, and so the teacher imparts certain power when the statement comes from him, and therefore they become much more effective. Tat upadesha avagatyanta vakyartha jnane prathamo hetuhu. The thing is that this upadesha should continue until avagati or the knowledge or realization takes place. Avagatyanta vakyartha jnane. This vakya, mahavakya, tattvamasi, is capable of giving avagati or the knowledge that I am Brahman. So what we call Shravanam is nothing but unfoldment of this Mahavakya. It is that which creates avagati or the knowledge. Therefore, when you keep on doing Shravanam until avagati or the knowledge takes place. So prathama hetu, upadesha matra adyasya na avagatyanta vakyartha dhihi. Again, by the upadesha of the teacher, one, that somehow the upadesha does not lead to avagati or to enlightenment or knowledge. Tasya pramanadi asambhavana nirartha samartha vicharaha medhavi shabdena vihitaha panditaha medhavi. So medhavi means capable of doing vichara, of deliberation. What does the deliberation do? Nirasana is able to remove or eliminate. What? Pramanadi asambhavana nirasana samartha. So pramana samshaya, prameya samshaya. So Shravanam supposedly remove the question about pramanam. As to Upanishad is pramanam for knowing Brahman. And Mananam removes all the prameya, any doubts about prameya or Brahman. So pramanadi, this also is traditionally repeated, So pramanadi asambhavana nirasana samartho vicharaha. the vichara or the deliberation which is capable of removing the asambhavana. The impossibility, one thinks that there is no God. And what can Upanishad do? The Upanishad is pramanam, that conviction comes. Upanishad says, you are Brahman, that conviction then comes. And then the various doubts, they are removed by mananam. So, medhavi shabdena vihitah. Medhavi pandito vidwan. So, why medhavi is one who is capable of doing mananam. So, Shravanam is there, then one who is capable of translating the teaching into his own self. So, what does this teaching mean to me? That one has to translate that. So, what does the 10th man story mean to me? What does rope snake mean to me? What does raga dvesha mean to me? What does vairagya mean to me? What does samadhi shatka sampati mean to me? What does it mean to me? Whether do I have that shraddha? Do I have that titiksha? Do I have that samadhanam? I know the definition of all of them, but then to be able to apply those definitions to me and see their meaning with reference to myself. So see the meaning of this teaching with reference to the life. Then only it can bless, otherwise it will not bless. So that capability is required, and that is indicated by the word medhavi, one who possesses medha. Medha means that vichara, in this case, that deliberation. Uhapo vichakshana, one who is capable of removing all the doubts by presenting the right arguments. Medha vihitasya, vihitah tasya prajna atishayavadi prayogadi bhavaha. The idea is the word medhavi is employed in case of a person who possesses an excellent intelligence. Prajna atishayavati. One who possesses prajna atishaya. Atishaya means outstanding. So one who has that outstanding or excellent prajna, or that wisdom or the knowledge or the intellect one who has, is called a medhavi. So therefore, panditaha medhavi. So medhavi word shows the capability on the part of the student to be able to deliberate upon the teaching and see its meaning in his own life, and that's why identify that yes, this is right, this is the marga, the path on which I am traveling is the right path. So going back to the Bhashya, so Gandhara Purushavaccha Swam Sadatmanam Upasampadya. So like that Purusha was able to get back to his country, Gandhara, and what is it? Nirvrataha Sukhiya Bhut, was completely at peace with himself, all his suffering gone, and became Sukhi or happy. Similarly, this also Atmanam Upasampadya Sukhi Nirvrata Syat. He also becomes free from all suffering and gets established in Sukha or happiness. Iti eva varthamaha. This is what is indicated by the sentence Acharyavan Purusho Veda. So in this statement, Bhashyakara must have deliberated, and then he came up with all of this is involved in that. Acharyavan Purusho Veda iti. Then comes the next sentence. Tasya tavadeva charam yavanda vimokshe atha sampatsye iti. That's the next sentence. Tasya tavadeva charam. Charam means delay. Tasya tavadeva charam. That much alone is a delay. Yavanda vimokshe. Until he gets released from this body. Atha sampatsye. So this wise person, the Jivan Mukta, he has that much delay, has to wait that much until he is released from this body. And then, Atha Sampatshe Sapmanti, he becomes one with Sat. So that statement talks about the Videha Mukti. This statement talks about the Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. So there is something called Jivan Mukti. Tasya Tavadeva Chiram, that a person continues to live. A wise person also continues to live for a period of time. It is not that by virtue of gaining knowledge that his body drops off, that he continues to live until his body is there, which is due to prarabdha. And then he becomes Videha Mukta, he becomes liberated after the death. So that statement is now being explained. Bhashyakara says on page 280, Tasya asya evam acharyavatah mukta avidya abhinahanasya tavadeva tavaneva kalaha chiram kshepaha sudatma swasvarupa sampattehe iti vakyasheshaha. Tasya tavadeva chiram. So long is the delay for this person. Tasya, for him. That's a pronoun. For whom? Asyeva evam acharyavatah. So acharyavan Purusho Veda. The one who is Acharya acquires knowledge. Tasya, of that person who has acquired knowledge from the teacher. Evam acharyavatah. So one who is preserves teacher in this manner, that he has developed that competence and the teacher then imparts teaching to him, as a result of which he comes to know his own true nature. Mukta avidya abhinahanasya. The one whose blindfold of the nature of ignorance has been removed. Thus, of that person, tava deva chiram, tava neva kala chiram. That long. So for that time, he has to wait. That's the delay for him. Chiram kshepaha, delay. What? Sadatma swarupa sampatte. In being one with this Sadatma Swarupa, in being one with the true nature of Sat, which is Atma, Sampatti, attainment. So, attainment of the Sat or existence of Brahman as his own self, in that there is this much delay. Now, this literally the sentence seems to say that he attains his nature of self, Sat as a self, after death. Then there is no Jivan Mukti. But it is interpreted as he already is established in Sat. There is no delay really. So, if he is already established, why should Upanishad say there is a delay? If there is a delay, that means he is not established in himself. But this statement is interpreted as Jivan Mukti. He is established in his own self. And still, there seems to be an apparent obstacle in the form of the body. But that is also from the standpoint of the onlookers. From his own standpoint, the body no more stands as an obstacle to his abiding in Brahman. If the body stands as an obstacle, it's not the body. It is identification of the body that stands as an obstacle. So if that obstacle still remains, he has to take another birth. So the process of the birth and death will continue until one gains complete abidance in the self. And ultimately, that body, meaning the identification of the body, or the Atma Buddhi, is the obstacle. So Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So by Shravanam and Mananam, one gains the clarity of the knowledge. By Nididhyasanam, one removes the obstacle in the form of the habitual identification of the body. He supposedly have done it. So then alone you can call him Veda, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. The one who possesses teacher acquires knowledge. So knowledge, there we should mean abiding knowledge, which is the means for moksha, so abiding knowledge. If this is so, then from his own standpoint, there is no delay. He already has become identified with Brahman, but only from the standpoint of the onlookers who feel that he is still going through pleasure and pain, and therefore he is not totally liberated, so the body seems to be an obstacle and is totally abiding in Brahman. So that obstacle goes away when the body is dropped off at the conclusion of the exhaustion of prarabdha karma. Going to the Tika, line 25, Nanu Acharyavan Veda Ayuktam. Question. Acharyavan Veda, you say that the one who possesses the Acharya, the teacher, acquires knowledge, it is Ayuktam, seems to be improper, not right. Tasya Brahma Vittve Sati Jnanotpatti Anantarameva Dehadi Nivrutte. So that the fact that this person is alive, so this is Purupaksha. The fact that the person is alive means that he has not acquired knowledge. You say Acharyavan Purusho Veda, the one who possesses Acharya Veda acquires knowledge, but is still alive. That shows that he has not acquired knowledge. Why? Jnanotpatti Anantarameva Dehadi Nivrutte. Because the body should drop off. As soon as knowledge takes place, the body has no more purpose to serve, therefore we would expect that the body would drop off. His body has not dropped off. That means that he still has some work to be done. Then what happens? Upadeshtutva asambhavat. Then whoever is alive is an ignorant person, not abiding in himself, then there cannot upadeshta, the teacher of this Brahma Vidya. Iti ashankya vidushopi prarabdakshaya paryantam dehade sattvat. That even wise person also continues to live dehade prarabdha kshay paryantam dehade sattvat. That the body will not drop as long as the prarabdha is there. So, upadeshtutvam upapadyate. Or otherwise, another way of looking at this now. Acharyavan Veda iti ayuktam. That talking about the Acharya, you say that the one who is Acharya acquires knowledge, but where is Acharya? Tasya Brahma Vittve Sati. If Acharya is the knower of Brahman, then Jnanotpatandarvya Deha Nivrutte. If Acharya is the knower of Brahman, then as soon as knowledge takes place, there would be the dropping of the body. And therefore, how can there be Upadeshta? So Acharya cannot be, an entity says Acharya cannot be. If Acharya is meant to be a wise person, then he cannot be, because as soon as knowledge takes place, once body drops off, so there is no Acharya. Iti Ashanka Vidushopi says, no, there is an entity called Acharya, called the teacher. Vidushopi Prarabdha Kshaya Paryantam. Even for a wise person also, until Prarabdha or the destiny gets exhausted. Dehadehe Sattva. Meaning that for the wise person also, Dehadi. So body, etc. Whatever that etc. is, body and then normal vyavahara, So that anuvritti is there. His body also is there. At the same time, his vyavahara or conduct also is there as before. So whatever his preferences were before, those preferences continue to remain even after the knowledge takes place. So if he like South Indian person, he like idli, he may continue to like that. A North Indian person may continue to like parotha, etc. And so the body is there at the same time, all this earlier conduct also is there. Upadeshtutvam upadyate iti. Therefore Upadeshta is there. There is an entity called Jivan Mukta, one who is liberated while living. Idi vaktum tasya tavad ityadi vakyam. So this vakya is meant to show that there is a Jivan Mukta. That Acharyavan Purusho, where means Acharya is there. Acharya must necessarily be Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So Brahmanishta Purusha is there with Acharya. And that means that even after knowledge takes place, then also one continues to survive, continues to live. And then we have to derive what makes him live. It must be his body. Why is the body not dropping off? Because of prarabdha. So prarabdha kshaya paryantam. So this vakya is meant to say that there is Jivan Mukti, there is a person called Acharya. Otherwise, Swami used to make a joke always that tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshante te jnanam jnanina tattvadashina. Some Pandit was explaining this verse on the stage. So upadekshante te ajnanam, te jnanam, te ajnanam. Oh, he is delighted. So jnanina tattvadashina ajnana upadeshanti, upadekshanti. So they will teach you ajnanam. Because there is no wise person. But Lord Krishna says jnanina tattvadashina. How can they impart ignorance? That's how he used to interpret that. So tasyasya, that's what Bhashya can say. Tasyasya tava kshepaha sadatma swarupa sampattehi vakya shesha. You must add this much. Sadatma swarupa sampattehi tavadeva chiram. That much. So far is a delay until he, as long as his body is there, delay is there in establishing the Sat, that is Atma. Okay, we'll continue next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Murti श्रुतिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।